Here's former vegan influencer Rawvana with her guide on how to transition back to cruelty in 5 easy steps.
Today I want to talk about how to transition from a plant-based vegan diet
to one where animals are forced to needlessly endure suffering and death.
to a regular, more balanced diet.
Who defines what balanced means? My whole foods plant-based diet provides all the macro and micronutrients I need and then some. And why were you not worried about being balanced before? When you ate plant-based, you emphasised raw fruits and veg and hardly considered fat or protein-rich foods at all. Which is a shame because now you're back to hurting animals.
I'm going to talk about my personal experience. I believe that everyone is different.
Yeah, you believe that, do you? Well, I know that all humans have the same basic anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. I mean, believe in unscientifically backed blood type diets and other nonsense if that makes you feel better about needlessly hurting animals if you like. But do know that it is complete horse.
So to give you a little background, I followed a 100% plant-based diet
With too few calories, crazy restrictive eating, and insufficient supplementation.
for a little over 6 years. I feel like the first 4 years were good, but the last 2 years I was really struggling. And it wasn't until some very close friends of mine who had been vegan for over 8 years told me about their experience of incorporating animal protein back into their diet.
Don't tell me, they were eating insufficient calories, not enough variety, and failing to supplement too, weren't they? If only there were such things as nutritionists and dietitians that we could call on, instead of having to rely on dumb to get our health advice.
So some of the symptoms that I was feeling before I went back to eating animal protein were just a lot of bloating. I eventually found out that I had SIBO.
I developed SIBO too a couple of years back, can happen to anyone. Where we differ is, instead of using it as an excuse to eat animal corpses, I got mine treated. It wasn't difficult. A nutritionist friend of mine, Goji Man of YouTube fame, prescribed me some natural antimicrobials, and in no time at all, I was fine. I've been fine ever since, and no animals had to die.
I also had iron deficiency.
Yeah, well, SIBO causes nutrient malabsorption. Hello? I've been vegan for almost 10 years and my iron test's at the top of range.
I also had some hormonal issues.
Well, yeah, your diet was you were eating insufficient calories or fat, and you were suffering from nutrient malabsorption. What do you expect?
My hair was falling out, it wasn't growing.
I'm not a very good example, but I know plenty of vegans with luscious flowing locks. Look, it's entirely possible to eat an insufficient diet, particularly if you have an underlying health issue. But that's not the fault of vegan diets in general, just your application of one.
It took me around 6 months of thinking to reincorporate animal protein into my diet until I finally did it.
Why would you want to reincorporate animal protein? They're exactly the same essential amino acids that the animal got from eating plants. Except that when you eat it secondhand, you're also getting the sat fat, trans fats, cholesterol, hemine, and heterocyclic amines, etc. that are killing most of us.
So I started with something very simple. I started with collagen.
Collagen doesn't have a face and cannot scream, so it's easier not to connect it with the murder victims, and you'll find it easier to sleep at night. Collagen peptides are formed from one glycine molecule together with one proline molecule, and then one molecule of any other amino acid. All these amino acids are highly abundant in plants, and as proteins are broken down into their constituent amino acids before they're allowed entry to the bloodstream through the wall of the small intestine, where we source them from is irrelevant.
And then I started with bone broth. Another very easy thing to start incorporating because...
Again, it doesn't have a face or a mum.
So I did that for, I want to say, a couple of months. And as I was feeling more comfortable...
Amazing how quickly we can lose our kindness and compassion.
And just warming up to the idea of incorporating animal protein.
That term, animal protein, is code for dead animals. Perhaps there is some guilt and therefore some humanity in there after all.
That's when I decided to incorporate eggs.
Although you're very definitely funding day-old chicks being shredded alive in a macerator because they're superfluous to the egg industry. Again though, the eggs themselves don't have faces, and you can't hear the cute little chirps of the chicks as they frantically search for their mothers, but instead of love, find fear and an agonizing death.
I cooked eggs and I ate them. I honestly was never like a huge fan of the yolk part of the eggs, but I just ate it.
Eggs are the most cholesterol-rich food there is and have excessive amounts of choline, which pathogenic gut bacteria turn into trimethylamine. Once that oxidizes in the liver, it accelerates atherosclerosis deposition and makes it harder for your body to clear cholesterol out of the bloodstream, among many other ills.
And then a couple of weeks later, I incorporated fish.
More gateway victims. Again, fish can't scream and don't have expressive eyebrows, so it's easier to terrorize and murder them without feeling like a bad person. Too bad that they do feel pain and have emotions.
And fish was fairly easy for me to incorporate.
Other than the time that you awkwardly tried to hide the fact that you were victimizing them again on your friend's Instagram account.
Because I had been learning about the omega-3s.
Oh my God, she's doing a Miley Cyrus. How can someone be a vegan influencer for that long and not know how easy it is to get omega-3 on a vegan diet? Come off it, I refuse to believe you're that clueless. Look, I understand that you don't want to feel bad for personally hurting the animals again, but to throw them under the bus like that and influence your thousands of followers against veganism, I honestly don't know how you can live with yourself. Millions more souls will likely be tortured now because of you.
I was starting to follow a SIBO diet. So a SIBO diet basically consisted of animal protein, of veggies, fats, no grains, no fruit.
That's strange. I ate no animals, but I did continue to eat grains and fruit. And with treatment, I quickly and easily cured my issue. Whereas you have simply eliminated certain life-extending foods that would show you symptomatically that you still have SIBO.
And it wasn't until my second year of incorporating animal protein.
Protein? That doesn't look like just protein molecules to me. It looks more like flesh. You know, pieces of dead bodies. Why can't these people just say it like it is? Because it's wrong. That's why.
That's when I started to eat more beef because of the B12.
Shame it's not possible to get a B12 supplement. You know, considering all the murder, heart disease, and environmental destruction that comes from eating cows' bodies.
As I learned more about the benefits.
What benefits? What is it about your smaller body that requires you to get protein from animals, yet my larger body does not?
As I learned more about our ancestors.
What did our ancestors know about health or nutrition? Nothing. In the future, will McDonald's suddenly become healthy because we'll be the ancestors of someone and we ate it?
The quality and where I source my food is very important.
Well, from a health, ethics, or environmental perspective, you're focusing on entirely the wrong things.
I try to buy local and organic and from sustainable and ethical sources.
Yeah, the fact that you're eating animals means you done f***ed up. Have you not watched Cow or Seaspiracy? And how do you ethically enslave, mutilate, and murder a victim? Bit of a conundrum.
Now I eat yogurt, I eat cottage cheese sometimes.
These foods require that calves are shot in the head so we can take the milk that was intended for them. How ethical is it to kill babies so that we can steal their food?
I do try to eat protein in every single meal.
Are you saying that I get no protein in my meals? Only I'm substantially bigger and stronger than you.
I feel like this is just part of the journey for a lot of us.
If by a lot of us you mean a few unethical, nutritionally illiterate flip-floppers, then yeah.
Eating plant-based taught me so much.
I beg to differ, but what do I know? I'm just a nutritionist who's thrived on a vegan diet for the best part of a decade and have helped countless others thrive and even reverse disease.
It taught me to eat more veggies, eat more fruit, and now I've combined it with healthy, good sources of animal protein.
Good sources of unhealthy sat, fat, trans fats, and cholesterol, more like. The very things that unquestionably kill the most humans.
And I feel really good.
You'd feel even better if you cured the underlying health condition that you had diagnosed but did nothing about. And although you may feel fine now, it's highly likely that your current diet will be the death of you.
My hair, you guys, my hair has grown back.
Oh, I look pretty, so f the animals, throw them all in the meat grinder.
I feel like I'm in a good place right now.
What about the happiness of the animals? Are they in a good place? In servitude, in confinement, in the slaughterhouse, and in that graveyard that you call your body?
I wanted to fix my hormones, and I'm still working on that.
What? You've been eating all that magical dead flesh, you should be thriving.
We're always constantly evolving.
Bull.
Our bodies are changing.
Bull.
Our needs change.
Provide evidence.
Everyone's journey is so different. For some people, being vegan will work amazing. They'll thrive on it.
And then you'll get the odd clueless social media influencer who'll eat a very restrictive version of a vegan diet, make themselves sick, and then throw the animals under the bus. Now click this.